Okay, all flight controllers, go for landing. Retro. Go. Fido. Go. Guidance. Go. Control. Go. Telcom. Go. GNC. Go. Ecom. Go. Surgeon. Go. Capcom, we're go for landing.
Welcome to another great episode in Conversation with Leon. I'm your host, Leon Javi, the man himself. Today is another great day, in our episode, we're having someone special. This guy's just a random guy like anybody else, but deep down, a very unique and special person close to my heart.
He's lying.
All the way from Vleefontein, a beautiful place in Venda. That's where he comes from, currently located in Polokwane. He's a great person, to be honest. I see him as a speaker, a good father, and a good husband, He's actually good, I can say innovative thinker as well, a paradigm shifter, because he can actually...
keep them coming. Keep them coming.
He's like this new creative way of thinking. That's who he is. Everybody, let's welcome the one and only Mr. Kabelo Makgatho. How are you today, man?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And yes, I come from Vleefontein, not Vleefontein. Next thing, people are looking for Vleefontein somewhere and they can't find it.
Okay, no problem. So tell us, for my listeners, probably also your listeners, for those who don't know who Kabelo Makgatho is, who is this Kabelo Makgatho actually?
Yeah, that's quite a difficult question to answer, because there's so many aspects of who I am. I'm multi-layered, but just for the sake of this conversation, let me just say I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm very spiritual. I think for me, everything boils down to spirituality. I live a fantastic inner life, and that I think comes out when I am speaking in the natural. I'm a thinker, I am a lover of people. My passion is people. I mean, if you ask me what your passion is, my passion is people and helping people become the very best that they can be. That's who I am. In a nutshell, there's so many things. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm so multi-layered that it's like, okay, I don't even know which part it is that you're looking for. But like I said, for the sake of this conversation, that is basically who I am.
You're a very interesting person. That I know. Yeah. So, like, I see you spoke more about helping people. I think one of the difficult thing that we human beings get to have a challenge on is finding who we are, our purpose. So how can you help someone or direct someone in actually making them realizing their purpose in life?
I've been doing that for quite some time, I think. It depends on who I'm speaking to. How I relate purpose with an individual is based on who they are, or rather based on what kind of person that I'm seeing in front of me. But like you said, it is important for us to find out who we are on this planet. I think it's not so much about finding out, because the word finding out implies that you need to get to a place of learning, discovering something. And I think I've had this conversation with you about I don't believe that we're here to learn anything. I don't believe we're here to learn anything. We are here simply to remember who we are, because who we are is already who we are. We cannot find ourselves trying to discover it from some place or some book. When we read these books, when we hear these amazing people speak, it is just another way of God trying to say, this is who you are. Let me just remind you of the essence of yourself, because the essence of yourself is the spiritual part. And if we can get to understand that we are the spirit man and not the physical, then we move much faster into doing what we're supposed to be doing on this planet. So for me, I would say when I'm speaking to someone, I will push you more to go within. I'll push you more to go within, because when you go within, then everything else will start to be put in place on the outside. Your inner man will teach your mind who you are, and you start to live out that purpose.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, well, it's. I think it's information that people. This is basic information. It's just that the system that we've been born into doesn't teach us this thing.
Yeah, it does not at all.
Yes.
Let me take you back a little bit.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure you are not the person who you thought you will be back then. For you becoming the person who you are, related or to one actually getting to realize their purpose in life. Do you think the person who you were back then and who you are right now are also getting to advise somebody out there, be like, but where I am, I don't think I will ever find a purpose in life? Because I feel like there are those people who actually see or are in a place where things are not actually not going right at all,
Right,
and they
right.
get to realize and be like, Kabelo, what you're preaching is just manna from heaven, as they'll say. But
Yeah.
on a personal level, based on like who you are right now, and putting it in yourself in somebody's shoes who's out there, be like, you're just preaching something that does not exist, relating to finding purpose. What would you say to that person?
Well, I would say that definitely I'm not who I used to be. Or rather, I am who I used to be. I've just realized something else about myself. I will always go back to this, that you are absolute. You know, every person that is out there, whoever is listening right now, the essence of yourself is absolutely perfect, absolutely what it's supposed to be. But the issue is that as we evolve in this life, as we allow ourselves to go into different places in ourselves and understanding different things in ourselves, we then get to evolve to a better understanding of who we really are. What you are has always been there. As you are standing there as a 21-year-old, maybe trying to figure out your life, trying to understand where you are going, what's my purpose, what's happening with me, understand that you are absolutely perfect as you are. You just need to get to a place where you grow in understanding of yourself, because yourself is absolute. So what happens with me is that I did not understand this when I was growing up. When I was 21, I remember I was now I'm 33. just so we're putting it out there. When I was a 21-year-old, all I wanted to become is maybe 1, 2, and 3, for example. And I would see myself not seeing where I'm going. I had no vision. I couldn't understand. I could not in my imagination imagine that I would ever reach a certain place. Because when I would look at my surroundings, I would feel like, okay, nothing here seems to be moving. Nothing seems to be changing. I'm stagnant. I'm in one place. I'm looking at life, and everybody else seems to be moving. People finding their purposes, living that life, And what I did not realize at the time is that I was moving. I was building myself from within, and God was building me from within. All the books that I would read, because I'm a reader. Okay. All the books that I would read, I had no idea at the time that they were changing my way of thinking. They were changing how I behave. They were changing how I see life. And before I knew it, I was just a completely different person. I was transformed. I guess this is why even the Bible says that be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's because that's when you really realize that, the renewing of your mind will transform you. It will transform you to the understanding of your true self, because your true self, like I said, is always been there. So I would advise, and this is not fluff and manna from heaven on stuff like that, but really this is how life simply works. It just works that way. You just need to keep moving. You just need to keep breathing. Keep understanding that there is a movement. I may not see it with my physical eyes, but I know, because I live from within, that there's always something moving from within.
Wow,
That's how I look at life. It's not. I promise you, it's not as complicated as it sounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see. Okay, yeah, you told on something. Let's touch a bit on it. Taking you back, let's say you're advising someone who's 25, 28, 20, 22, like myself. I feel like you touched on something that is very important, that the society is actually putting aside or ignoring it. Reading.
Yes.
I just myself personally started reading books and stuff, and I feel like
How's that going for you?
it's actually going great, because the books that I'm reading are actually shifting a lot of things that in my mind. So for point of the importance of reading, especially being at the youth type of space, and also recommendation of books that personally helped you.
And even in high school, I remember I said, I want to be a psychologist. I want to be a psychologist, and somehow I just never did it. You know, I'm in IT now. I mean, I was systems engineering, and I'm thinking, okay, how do I move from that to this? But this is my point. It's always been in me to be a spiritual person. It's always been with me to be this person that really wants to understand the mind, that wants to understand the mechanics between the relationship between, or the marriage between the spirit and the mind, and using that to create our realities. So that has always been in me. I just never knew how to define it. But now that I'm older, now that I can say a little bit wiser, I'm able to define it and actually live it out. So I would say to anybody who's in their younger ages, find material that is very aligned with who you or the kind of person that you are, and take it from there.
Wow, that's very interesting. Like,
Sorry.
you just whole on new lady for me.
We've never discussed that, but it's okay.
Okay, yeah, dwelling more on the psychological part that I did not know about.
Yes.
Like, I know you're into recently dwelling more on the podcast that you recently started, and
Yes.
which is just a game changer for my life personally. because like I feel like you dwelled more into the paradigm thinking. You're changing the whole perspective. I think the mindset that we have been installed, that is so straightforward, that closes a new way of seeing things.
Yes.
I feel like that's where you are on your podcast. Like, take us to be like, why start the podcast?
Well, it started in 2018, when there was a download in my spirit. Many people don't understand it. If you've never experienced it, you don't really feel that it's real. But there was a communication from my spirit to God's spirit, and one thing that shifted my mind into, maybe let me try to do something that people can listen out there. It is when I got the communication that I am born to raise true consciousness, and I emphasize on the word true. There was this download of saying you are born to raise true consciousness. It made me realize that the consciousness is already there. There's multi-layered consciousness teachings out there, but God, He said, you want to raise true consciousness. And I was informed that I was wired differently, and I have to embrace that wiring. So when that came into my heart, I knew that I need to do something. And I would delay it and try to push it aside, but I got frustrated. And let me just tell you something that a friend of mine once told me, and I never forget this, which was a life lesson for me. He said to me that every time you get frustrated about any place you are in your life, it is a true indication that your true calling is demanding for your attention. And I knew that my true calling was demanding for my attention, and that's when I said, you know what, I need to start a YouTube channel. It started as your YouTube channel, and that never worked out. And I wanted a podcast, I just never knew how to get it, and finally somehow I got around to it, and that is where it started. And my thing is that I need to change the mindset. I need to bring a new way of thinking. People that listen to my podcast understand that I'm not traditional in how I think. I'm not religious in how I think, but I'm very focused on really the essence of a person, and in relation to themselves, and in relation to God, in relation to the world around them, and everything that they do. There is a way of thinking that God has instilled in me that I feel the world needs to understand, needs to tap into. There is a system that we've been born into that has lied to us about who we are, about what life is about, and they focus so much on the outward things, not realizing that if you just focus on the internal self, the person within, then nothing that is without can ever touch you. You can never be in a space where, how do I put it? You can never lack on the outside when you have a fantastic inner life. So that's my main message on my podcast, to say, people, wake up. Wake up. There's a whole world that you are in that you're not even aware of, And that for me is what my podcast is about. Is bringing the awareness, is to bring the light, enlightenment, a level of consciousness into a person's spirit, to say you are a spiritual being having a human experience.
In the description button, I'm going to leave a link.
Okay.
That whereby you just one click, it will take you to Kabelo's podcast, where you get to have a lot of information regarding what he just said about the mindset and everything. Trust me, I've listened to each and every episode, and it's a game changer for me. I encourage you, make sure that you click the link. Don't hesitate, so you can learn. like you really, like the whole mindset is actually a new thing that I feel like the society right now is learning. And also I just want you to a little bit, not too much, also regarding the mindset that you talk about, and also the importance of mental health.
Mental health. Well, I think there's always a relation. There's always a relation between the spirit man and the mind. You know, there's always a marriage. You cannot be on this planet and not have a relation between the spirit man and the mind. And I will keep on going back to the same thing. And I think this thing is very important. Mental health, it's a dysfunction. It's a dysfunction. It's a dysfunction of the mind. And one thing that I can say is that sometimes some things are very difficult to really explain without going deeper into other things.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to do this. It's all about if you teach enough people about living a life from within. I'm gonna come back to the mind. If you teach enough people, if a generation has to rise up that understands the essence, the essence of who they are, their intrinsic self, the person beyond the person. If enough people understood that, and start living and training themselves to live from that place, we can eradicate mental health. We can eradicate mental health. The issue is that everyone else is trying to teach us that we are the mind. Everyone is trying to teach us that the essence of who we are comes from the mind. And really the truth is that if we just switch it up and learn the truth about who we really are, we can, in the next generation or two, eradicate mental health.
If there was a crowd, it was the perfect time for a round of applause. Like, wow, like you just, wow. I'm happy, without a doubt. I'm calling you a paradigm shifter because that's what you keep on doing.
Not even.
Like, you keep on doing that.
Not even.
Okay, this is what I always will continue asking each and every guest of mine.
Okay.
This question: what does personal growth mean to you?
What does personal growth mean to me?
Yeah.
It means shifting. It's a shift. Personal growth is not personal. Not to me, it isn't. Because I understand that I'm not here for myself. And everything that I grow to, evolve to, though it affects me and it can impact my life in a very, very positive way, I have given myself over to the masses. I've given myself over to the world, basically. What I know, it is not for myself. What I have learned is not for myself. The growth that I'm having, it is for a much bigger purpose than myself. The understanding that I have that I am not my own has changed my life forever. That everything about who I am, everything that I learn, or rather, remember, as I always say, everything that comes into my life to shift and change me, it is all there so that I can use that to help another person. I'm not a withholder. I don't withhold things. I'm not trying to be selfish about myself. I give myself out there. So when you talk about personal growth, for me, that means the world is changing. When I grow, the world changes as well, because everything about me is given back to the world.
Wow. Yeah. You are something else, like literally. Yeah. Okay. One last question for you.
Yes.
Wow. I'm just like in the mindset of like what you just said, and it's just mind blowing. Yeah. Two things as last question.
Yes.
A lot of people are seeking happiness out there. Short vision of like how they can be happy, and 2, what should we expect on the podcast?
Oh, okay. Happiness. There's a difference between. Let me just define this. There's a difference between happiness and joy. Joy for me is intrinsic. It's natural. It is a constant state of being, regardless of what is happening around me. You know, I can have somebody close to me pass away and still remain joyful. You know, I can lose my business and still remain joyful. I can lose my wife and still remain joyful. But happiness for me speaks more to what the outward things bring me. For example, if you give me money right now, this thing, I am happy. I'm gonna jump up and down. But if you take it away immediately, that can bring sadness.
True.
So I would change the word happiness to joy, because joy is a constant state of being. It is there regardless of whatever is happening. It is unchangeable. It's unmovable. So for me, I would say people strive to understand the joy within yourself, because happiness is very temporal. You know, things can change. Your mood can change your happiness. So for me, is that strive more for joy than happiness.
Wow, interesting.
Yes.
So,
and the podcast. For the longest of time, I think since the beginning, I've only had like one interview where there were more than one person, more than me in the episodes. I'm gonna be interviewing a lot of people right now. You know, I think it's time. It's time I open up the podcast to different thinkers. I'm surrounded by a lot of thinkers, by the way. I cannot wait for people to actually download what's going to be coming. I have a producer, someone who's a very, very famous producer in our country. Big shows is producing them, and he's a friend of mine. But he is such a deep spiritual person, and nobody knows this about him. I can't wait for you guys to actually listen to what he has to say. I also have my pastor. You know, he's a very deep person in his own right. You know, if you put the producer and my pastor together, they think differently. Their depths are very different, but yet they're all relevant. You know, I've got a lot of people, man, that are coming through. But all I can tell you is that it is something to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to it myself. You know, having these conversations with these amazing people allows me as well to go deeper in myself. Because just like you, I think I keep telling you all the time, Ori, the depth that I go to when I'm speaking to has nothing to do with the depth that is in me, but the depth that is in you. You know, so when I'm speaking and you feel like, oh my God, this is so deep, it's about the depth that is within you, because I'm pulling from you what's inside of you and showing it to you. So I can't wait to pull from them. That's basically what's coming. So yes, that's what it's about.
Oh, can't wait for that. Oh, thank you very much for coming through, man.
No, it was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. And congratulations on your podcast. You know, yes, you're doing good work. You are a good interviewer.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to this episode, and have a great day, everybody.